quiet and you look around the room, perhaps only to, maybe it might be elongate a little bit, but overall it was quite good. Eye contact. You had good hand gestures. I found that you were quite comfortable using your hands to reiterate certain points. That was really good. And the good thing is about, even though it's just a second speech, you had very little reference to your notes. Most of the time you were able to look at us and deliver your speech. That was really excellent. I can say that from the whole speech, there were three main points they were trying to tell us about how to adapt to living in a foreign country. And you had very good transition from point to point with good supporting materials and even using your own personal stories about your travel documents being ready in only 3 months' time. So that was good examples to support your point. I have 3 recommendations for you in terms of the speech structure. The opening, you said that you lived in France, and that was really good. But because it was a little bit soft, you come across as a very gentle person. You can be even more forceful than that. You can ask everyone, can I know how many of you have lived in a foreign country before? And when you raise your hand like that and speak in a louder voice, you establish immediate greater rapport with the audience. That would be even better. Second thing is that I found that when I was trying to follow through your speech from point 1 to point 2 to point 3, I actually got lost in the second point. Because the first one was about adapting to a different time zone and changing your lifestyle and habits. The second point actually got lost, and then I went to the third point about adjusting to the people, interacting with people. Then I realized that your second point was actually about the working style. So perhaps another way to make it even better is that when you transition from point 1 to point 2, you pause and you say, point 1, adapting the time zone. And you elaborate all your examples. Point 2, then you highlight the title first, then you elaborate the example. Point 3, so in this way for us as audience, when we're listening to you, we may actually lose track along the way, but when you do this gesture, that will work very well. Thank you for reminding me of time. Okay. And the third recommendation is about the conclusion. The conclusion, you actually concluded with this message: dare to experience, adjust your expectations. Which to me, I found that was a little bit out of point with the entire structure. Because I was thinking that you would try to then reiterate the 3 points. So overall, ladies and gentlemen, in order to be able to live and adapt well in a foreign country, let me reiterate the 3 points. I didn't repeat the same 3 points. That would be a very much stronger call to action. Overall, for a second speech, I think you did wonderfully well. Because you came across very confident, you were able to deliver the entire speech of great value to all of us. So thank you so much, and I look forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Faye. The next evaluation is by you. Anyway, let me just congratulate Faye for that very comprehensive approach. Thank you.
So for June, thank you so much for your speech. I totally enjoyed it. So for this CRC, I shall try to use this. So for the good points, you started off by saying, a game, let's play a game. So immediately my mind was, oh, game, yes. So immediately you connected with the audience and made them feel what's next. So I would say your opening was very good. And the speech value, what are the strengths? Explore your strengths. These are discover your strengths. This is something that intrigues people and they want to get to know more. And discover your strength, hear that all the day, but then what are you talking about? So then come your preparation. I can see that you prepared a lot and that this is something that I am very glad for. So for organization, it was a very something, and then after you move on to something and move on to something. So there was a very good transition into it. So for the body wise, I felt that something you could improve on is that when you have a very strong opening, then we are all very intrigued. So from what I get is you have these 3 points, three examples, but you said it in a way that was like it was one after another. So one way I could improve on is maybe you should say I'm going to talk about such strengths such as harmony, such as some examples. So we know like you're talking about this point, this point, this point. Then for your conclusion, it's very good. You said in a nutshell, not something you hear all day, but something that is very unique. And then after that, you end off with a call to action. So the last part, this call to action, you could, because you end off at 5 minutes, 10 seconds, you had a lot of time to, let's say, turn around and write down the website, because I felt it was a very useful one. And everyone was trying to frantically write down the website. So that's something you could improve on. But overall, it was a very good speech, and I look forward to your future. Thank you.
And finally, third one, communicate the connect. Evaluator is W. Can I call from W?
Good evening, Acting Club President, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And Roy, congratulations on completing your extremely challenging speech. For 15 to 20 minutes, you were up here trying to entertain all of us in front. I'm sure it was a relief for you to go back to your seat after your speech, right? Now let me evaluate your speech based on some of the good points that I noticed, followed by some of the recommendations, and then I'll summarize how to improve the speech. First of all, you started off by giving an opening that you were seriously humorous. Right? And you talked about basically the fear of public speaking, which is the #1 fear. So that was actually very good because it connected with your title, which is Communicate to Connect. And for the rest of your speech, you were actually focusing on being a Toastmaster, why you would join Toastmasters, and how you want to encourage people to join Toastmasters. However, I thought that in your opening, it was a little bit rocky. Your start was a little rocky, and the humor was not quite there until you got to the body and you found your momentum. Then I thought that you actually gave some quite funny humor. For example, you talked about being long-winded. Your wife, Faith, says that you're long-winded. You go from one point to another point and then come back to another point. You compared Western food with Asian food, and you said instead of my son visiting me at old folks' home, I would like my son to visit me at Toastmasters Club. So those were the little snippets of humor that I thought was very interesting. And of course, then it came on to the highlight where you brought on your prop, a smaller version of you. I see you're also wearing a tie. So you brought him up here and he demonstrated the use of his accents. So I thought that was a highlight of your speech. So that was very well done. However, I thought that, in my opinion, the humor was mild, not very funny. Maybe it's because I watched too many comedies. So I expect a lot of twists. But I thought that in addition to the humor, you could also have improved your speech in these ways. Firstly, I think that you could use the stage a little bit more. Your stage presence was just limited to one area, and if you use the stage up to here, maybe next to Sam, that would have improved your presence and people would actually notice you better. I thought that you can also be a little bit slow sometimes when you articulate, especially when you come to your punchlines. So before you come to your punchlines, just pause a little bit and then deliver it with one punch. That's why it's called punchline. And then lastly, you can also create a story. Instead of, I noticed that your humor was peppered here and there, and you probably have points of humor that you want to incorporate, but the story was not very that. It was more like informative speech, and I thought that it was a humorous speech for entertainment. So I think that in considering of all these recommendations, you can improve to try to entertain people in your future speech. I know that 15 to 20 minutes is really long, but maybe you can also try to do it in a shorter time at first before going on to a longer speech. Okay, that's all. Thank you.